Hi everyone, welcome to Tadi TV, where I bring the classroom to you. I'm Hannah John, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about how you can stay motivated in grad school. Stay tuned! So I reached out to you on the community tab of Tadi TV and asked you what content you would like to see more of on my channel. And so surprisingly actually, you wanted to get motivated. I don't know if it had to do with kind of, end of 2021 going into 2022, and so kind of a new year resolution type of motivation. It might be that you're in the middle of grad school and that you feel that you need some extra support or encouragement. Maybe it's just being burned out perhaps from COVID, a lot of social distancing, and maybe you just wanted to get some person-to-person support. But because a lot of you were very interested in motivation, and maybe I could share some of my own ideas about how I stay motivated and how I encourage my students to stay motivated during grad school, I'm very happy to talk about this on my channel. So when we talk about motivation, we're talking about a willingness or desire to do something. And of course, this something really depends on who you are and what stage of your life you're in. But perhaps today we can talk about some of the kind of fundamental points about motivation, staying motivated. And I think at the core of it, it's really just we want to become better, going from either point A to point B, and then trying to keep ourselves on that path as we're going to the next point. So knowing your why and knowing what you want to gain are a little bit different. And so for example, oftentimes when it comes to grad school, why do you want to be in grad school? It's often you answer that with, I want to get a degree in a certain field. Why? Why? What are you trying to gain from this experience? Why is this degree going to be valuable for you? Perhaps as you're entering the marketplace. You have to be very specific when it comes to your why. So the big kind of why that underpins grad school especially is this idea that you're going to be better trained, better equipped to be able to do perhaps more specific work in the future, whether that's in research or in a technical field or even in industry, or maybe when it comes to, for example, NGOs or governmental institutions. So how do you make that program work for you? How do you make these 2 years, if it's a master's program, or 4+ years, if it's a PhD program, how do you make that work in your favor when it comes to this particular why, that you want to boost your credentials and hone your area of expertise so that you can be more valuable as you enter the marketplace? For many of my students, this happens to be engaging in more research and also building skills that are very marketable. Also, it could be things like learning statistical tools and also perhaps even a language. So the bottom line is, when it comes to getting motivated, please be clear on why you're actually pursuing this opportunity, and try to be as specific as possible when you're doing that. So let's start with one of the kind of examples that I gave earlier, when it's engaging in research or building maybe technical skills to be more marketable. Importantly, what does it actually mean to engage in more research? So let's say you're a master's student and you have 4 semesters at a graduate program. What does it mean to engage in more research? Is this just to write term papers for your graduate program, which are very helpful and required, so you'll have to do that. But clearly, if you're trying to gain specific expertise and establish yourself in a specific area, one very tangible thing that you can do to track your progress is submit an X number of papers for peer-reviewed journals. This can also be something like presenting X number of papers at X number of conferences while you're here at the graduate program. It could also be that you want to write a thesis at the completion of the program, but whatever you decide, please make sure that you have a very clear, specific idea of what it means to be able to build on this why and to write it down so that you can track your progress. I have shared in the past some of my tools, productivity tools that I use for my own research to keep me on track. So please, feel free to use some of those at your leisure. Now, I do want to mention at this time, when it comes to tracking your progress in light of your why, that one of the best things that you could do is to find real, true accountability as you're completing the program. If you're a current student right now, I think one of the best sources of that type of accountability, certainly I would talk to your academic advisor. If you're writing a thesis, it perhaps be your thesis advisor. If not among the faculty, then perhaps a close colleague or another student who might be willing to work with you and to keep you accountable for how you're progressing with your stated goals. And especially when it comes to research, of course, please reach out to potential faculty members for, co-authoring, or even if it's not co-authoring, just someone who can maybe help you learn the ropes about the publication process, someone who can encourage you when you're feeling discouraged, especially if you're trying to, write alone or even with other students, because sometimes it does feel like the blind leading the blind. I think just lastly, what I noticed with a lot of our graduate students at the master's level and at the PhD level is, I think because you're in graduate school, all of the students tend to be highly motivated and have very high standards in terms of what they would like to achieve during their time here. And so what that means is that they're very ambitious. in a good way. But because you set such a high bar, it's very possible that you might not be able to, kind of humanly possible, finish all of the things that you have put on your plate. So while you definitely want to make sure that you're making the most of your graduate school experience, we do want to make sure that you don't set your bar too high so that you feel disappointed, discouraged, and quite frankly burnt out. So I hope today gave you some food for thought when it comes to staying motivated in graduate school, especially when it comes to knowing your why, and also when it comes to tracking your progress. Yes, I really enjoyed making this video for you. I hope it was helpful, and yes, until next time here on Tadi TV, bye!